CycleOps are one of the biggest names in indoor trainers, and they're very kindly offered to open the doors to their factory for us to take a good look around. But indoor trainers are just one part of the manufacturing that actually goes on here, because there is an awful lot more to parent company Saris, as we're going to find out. Something we can all relate to. Nice. Now, a little bit of backstory first. The first products that Saris actually made was bike racks for cars. Now, you'd be familiar, I'm sure, with the Bones rack, which is a common sight in cycling event parking lots around the world. And they've actually been based here in this facility for over 25 years. But it wasn't until 1997 that they actually acquired CycleOps and then Powertap in 2001. Now, this part here, this is the sales and marketing. But actually, the cool thing here is that all products are either manufactured and or assembled just through this door. To you. Now, one of the first things before we get on to any manufacturing or even design is the amount of bike storage here. How cool is this? Now, cycling to work is a big part of Saris. They tell us that 30% of their 150 strong workforce actually ride to work in the summer. Winters are pretty brutal here, but still, how cool is that? Hey, right, so this is where everything happens, from the concept right through to the finished design. And so in here, we've got mechanical engineers, we've got electrical engineers, product development. You can probably tell from the desks who does what. I'm guessing this guy might be an electrical engineer somehow. And then, once they've finished their concept and their design, then they can send the CAD file down to the machine shop, which we'll go to next. So this is the machine shop, which I think you'll agree looks like something of a playground. And as well as being able to make the prototypes, this is also a really crucial place for actually making the tools for the rest of the factory and also the check fixtures. So you'll see a whole bunch of stuff in here. We've got 3-axis CNC machine behind me, we've got manual lathes, we've got CNC lathes, we've got other CNC machines, and then a whole wall of just bits. Like I say, this is a playground. You can do some cool stuff in here. Now let's get on to the manufacture itself, shall we? Saris say they try and source as much of the raw materials from as close to their facility as possible. So here, we've got a whole stack of steel tubing. And this comes from just 150 miles away, still in the same state, Wisconsin, and it is destined to become the frames for your indoor trainer. So this is going to head off to get bent into shape. Steel tubing, cut to length with that bad boy. And then this is the bending machine, so this squashes it into the perfect shape. So our bent tube then gets put into this, which is an automated welder, and what comes out the other end is this. So all the component parts that you might see on your turbo trainer frame get welded on at this point here. And then that dude over there checks to make sure it's all sorted. So here's another little bit of indoor trainer that you might be familiar with. So this is what houses the fluid in a fluid resistance trainer. And this bit here has actually been cast off-site, one state over in Iowa, but this is not the finished material. So it goes into that thing there, which is the blaster, and it comes out as this, which is the finish that you'll be familiar with, but it's still not done yet. What it needs to do is to go into that thing there, which is a CNC machine, where they can bore out at really, really precise tolerances to make sure the bearing will fit correctly. Now, you'll probably detect a step change in atmosphere right now, because we've gone off the factory floor with all the heavy machinery up to here, which is the electronics lab. Now, the resistance units for all the smart trainers, so those with automatically adjustable resistance, actually are assembled up here. So you see to your left over there, there's a whole batch of resistance units. And then this gentleman here is the one that puts it together. Then each resistance unit, before it's bolted to an indoor trainer, actually gets tested for calibration in one of these machines here. But then, if we come down a little bit further on, there's more electronics going on, because of course the power meters actually are made here as well. So we've got Powertap hubs going on in there, and then just over in here we've got the PowerTap P1 pedals. So all the assembly for those is done in there. I think we'll have a closer look at some point. Come on, look at this. Look what I found. Not that I was loitering in the gents' toilets, but there you go. Best place for it, if, in my opinion. But one of those is Mr. Daniel Lloyd's, loitering in the men's toilet. Hey, come and have a look at this, right? You see this beautiful town bike right here? So apparently, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Saris, every single employee at the company was given one of these very cool looking town bikes. How good is that? It's assembly time. Now you notice the frames that we saw being bent and welded earlier on now look slightly different. They actually get sent off-site to be painted, which is a very specialist and also expensive procedure. So that's why that happens. And then these people here are literally putting the finishing touches, putting the resistance units on, boxing it up, and then away it goes. Now we have seen the finished trainers, but let's not skip this part out because this is a very important part of the whole process, and it is product testing. Now you see here two of the new products, the Hammer, and they are currently in their final phases of endurance testing, and it's some serious endurance. It's 700 watts going through that for a couple of minutes at a time, and then it's killed, and then it's restarts. So mimicking basically a hard training session day after day after day after day. And in that one, I think that one's just cranking out 700 watts consistently for an awfully long time. Now, before we leave the Saris factory, there's one last thing I want to draw your attention to, and that is this. The advocate of the decade, Chris Fortune, is the CEO and owner of Saris, and they've raised a total of over $1 million for Wisconsin Bicycling, which is the local advocacy group, basically helping people get on bikes and also make cycling around the state easier. So that, I think, is super cool. Now, if you want to see a little bit more about the tech here at Saris, then Tom Last unboxed a pair of their P1 pedals. So if you want to see that video, then if you click just up there, how'd you go for a moment? Or if you want to actually get involved with some training using your indoor trainer, then we've got our training video playlist, and that is just down there. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe to GCN before going to either of those. To do that, just click on the globe.